Welcome to It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. What is it? It's everything. Everything you want in life starts with courage.
$37 episodes?
Yes. We've been
working.
We've been working. We've been consistent is the word.
I know.
I remember when we talked about starting this. And when we first started this, we decided to record 4 episodes and get ready and then just have some in the bag. And I remember once Jen said, I think we were on episode number 9. And she was like, I wonder what we should talk about today. And I was like, I don't know. I really can't think. And she said, well, I'm getting worried. We're not even 10 episodes in and we can't think about what to talk about. But look at us now.
37 episodes in.
We were a baby.
Well, look,
a toddler.
I have to give some shout outs this week.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to my friend Heather, who we're not close friends. We're work acquaintances. We know each other from the real estate industry, but she started listening to our podcast and she has been telling other people. She texted it to some people and be like, you have to listen to this. This is awesome. So, you know what? She told me the other day, she sent me a text and she quit her job and is chasing her dreams. And she said one of the things that inspired her to chase her dreams finally was listening to us. So,
Heather,
I know. Isn't that awesome?
Oh my goodness. I feel so proud. I feel so proud of her. That's a big step to take.
Huge.
That's called believing in yourself. Good for you, Heather.
I know. So
that's amazing.
We have one listener at least.
Oh, I love to hear those stories. So guys, if you're out there, we would love to hear, I guess, what this podcast has done for you 37 episodes later. And we do have somewhere where you can share these stories of courage. If you visit us at the podcast website where I was telling you about, iswcpodcast.com, you can submit your stories of courage or anything that you just want to talk about to inspire other people. And we would love to share them on our blog page.
Yeah, and follow us on Instagram.
Of course, I love to see the Instagram interaction because some of those little clips up there, sometimes they cause a bit of controversy, you know.
I know, we're controversial.
Well, the craziest thing is how when people listen to these clips, now obviously the clips are there just so that, they get people excited. But there was an episode we did and there was a saying that you had said, which was taken from this full saying that goes, hard times create strong men create easy times create weak men.
Weak men create hard times.
Yes. And
I changed it because
right.
I said people because
we're
women and I don't think it's just men. I think it's people.
And what was interesting about that clip is it went crazy. The clip went semi-viral. And it was all these men in there commenting, it's men actually. And if you're going to say the quote, at least say it right. Ugh, it sounds so wrong when you say it like that. And I thought it's so interesting how people don't understand the context of something, but we're so ready to judge, jump in, and you have a completely
tear down.
There was nothing positive that came from these comments from men. We love men, but and all the women were just like, yeah, let's go. But yes, definitely love. I've really enjoyed doing this, and I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to us ramble on week after week.
We try not to ramble. We try to get right to the point. Mm-hmm. I hate listening to podcasts that they ramble for 30 minutes and they give all these announcements and all this. It's God, just get to it. I'm so impatient. So I'm glad our podcast is sometimes it's shorter,
Yeah.
but I feel like you can listen to that like
And
on
be
your lunch
done.
break
Mhm.
or in the car if you don't have that long of a commute, like just pump you up for the day.
I have some podcasts that I listen to that are about an hour or so long, and it's so true. Like, I mean, they're great, and I guess they're more entertainment based. That sometimes I listen to things, I'm like, oh, well, what were we talking about again?
Yeah, because I don't think they come in prepared to talk about things.
Yeah.
But
Or sometimes it's not about preparation. I guess they're just there for a chit chat, which is also fine. But
today
mm-hmm.
we're going to talk about listening to the expert.
Ooh.
First, I think we kind of need to like talk about like who is the expert, what is the expert, where do you find the expert?
Yes.
And
this can be, I guess, anywhere, whether it's like business or it's medical or it's whatever it is, farming, cooking.
Okay, so I have a you haven't heard this story because it just happened, but I'll use an example. So I'm working with this older couple to buy a house and sell their house.
Yeah.
And there have been some shootings and stuff like in the kind of the area of town that they live in, and they kind of felt uncomfortable, and they decided they wanted to move.
Yeah.
And so we went out house hunting last week, and they found a house they wanted to put an offer on. So, you know, right now it's really hard to make a contingent offer of selling another property, but that's what we had to do. So we made this offer, strong offer, got it accepted. And I had told the agent, I think this house is going to sell really quickly. Their house. And so she kind of trusted me. So when I met with a couple and I ran the comps, I'm like, I think you can get $250 for your house.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, no way. I will fall out of my chair if I get $250 for this house. You are crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I really do think that we can get $250. So we put it on the market. First offer, first day of showings, we get an offer. And of course, we got an offer $250, but they asked for us to pay a lot of closing costs. So I had to talk them through that and what that meant. So we didn't go with that offer right away. The next day, we got two other offers. One for $256,500.
Wow. Over ask.
And one for $260,000.
Did he fall out of his chair?
He was like over the moon. But here's the thing. Like, there's two times in this transaction that I feel like I represented them really, really well. One is on the pricing.
Yeah.
But when we went and looked at this house, he kept asking me like, Jen, if this becomes too stressful, if I can't do this, can I back out of this? And I was like, well, you can back out of the purchase at certain points. At certain points, you're locked in.
Yeah.
I said, but when you sign a contract on your house, like let's say if you back out on the new house, you're still locked in to sell your house, right? And so, like I said, a little older, super nervous, stressful, uncomfortable. And so I was like, look, and this is the first time I've ever done this, but he's asked these questions about backing out. And so I put in the offer that we accepted on his house.
Contingent on.
If something happens and falls through on the address that they're buying, the seller reserves the right to void this contract.
Right.
And the buyer signed off on that. And so I didn't know if they would or if that would be a big deterrent for them, but they signed off on it. Well, last night we had the inspection on Friday.
Yeah. Last
night they called me and like super stressed and uncomfortable and like just want to back out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's the first time I wrote that in a contract, but by listening to them and knowing the contract backwards and forwards and knowing that, yes, his question was, can I back out on the new house, right?
Yeah.
And yes, the answer was yes. But knowing that he couldn't back out on the sale, and that was going to leave him homeless, which would be even more stressful than, you know, moving forward with the house. I was able to combat that. So I kind of feel like, you know,
you were the expert.
I was the expert in this transaction because I was able to understand the question that he was asking and understand the process well enough to know how to cover him all the way around. And so, I mean, I run into that a lot, right? With a lot of these customers, like I run into people that have bought or sold one house in their lifetime, and it's been in a different state, and they're like, "Oh, well, this is how we do it."
We become the expert.
You do it one time and you become the expert. So, you know, I just kind of wanted to talk today about, like,
I guess. Sorry, I cut you off there. You wanted to talk about.
I wanted to talk about when you are doing something and trying to accomplish something that isn't in your normal everyday activities, and having a coach or a business partner or an expert involved. Are you willing to put your ideas to the side and trust the expert, or are you going into those endeavors
with an opinion
of this is how we should do it?
And I think today that's a lot of people, because you've got YouTube University, we learn so many, and this is not to say it's you're not learning anything valuable on YouTube. We learn a lot of stuff online, and you know, we've been able to accomplish a ton of stuff because of YouTube University. But when now I can say, okay, the very first house that you sold me, Jen, painted the entire thing, even though Jen had said, no, just hire painters. I was like, no, I'm not about to spend all this money and get somebody in here to paint. But after some neck pain and back pain, made it through that painting, watching YouTube University, learning about cutting, about taping. Also went through the process of switching out the kitchen, which started with stripping the cabinets and painting them a complete. Oh, I would never, ever, 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 ever do that in my life. And I would never recommend anyone to do that because it sucks. But I feel like the job was done, but it wasn't done well. Sorry to the lady who bought the new house. It was done, but it wasn't done well. And I think what tends to happen whenever I hear people talk about renovating their house and, oh my goodness, I'm going to do this, it's easy to jump in and say, oh no, you should do it like this, because when I did it, I'm now the expert, even though I have zero qualifications on this. I've turned into this renovation construction expert, and I am not
expert.
Yes. And the thing there is, because sometimes we think we're getting value, you know, by not spending as much money, we're getting more, but really in the end.
Or you did it one time and now you feel like you're an expert enough to dole out advice where, you know, like you wouldn't hire a painter and be like, okay, I'm going to need you to do this, this, and this to prep the walls. And this is how you do it. And this is how you hold your paintbrush. You would hire the painter and let them, because they are the expert.
You're paying them for their expertise. Yes.
But how many times do we not do that? Like you hire someone, but then you're telling them how it's going to go.
But also, you hire someone to do something, but never validate their credentials or expertise.
Yes.
Watching YouTube, not YouTube University, but just listening to so many people. There've been a lot of cosmetic surgery going on around lately. And that's like, you know, either people getting fillers in their face or wherever, BBLs. I know you asked me what
I don't even know what that is.
Brazilian butt lift. So that's small waist, big booty.
People do that?
Yeah, you can just get it all sucked out in the areas you don't want, and they'll go and put it in your butt. I mean, definitely a very risky kind of surgery, which can have many complications. But, you know, what people have been doing, there's getting it done, paying the price to get it done in America. It's going to be a lot more expensive. But number one, because of the regulations here, you're getting it done correctly by a board certified surgeon, someone who has experience, expertise, versus those who've been going abroad. I recently watched something online, and it was a particular doctor. I think I don't know which country he was in South America. And basically he had like at least 6 girls die on him. A lot of people who've come back to the United States and they've been like deformed, you know, like it's a majorly botched surgery. And it's when they looked into this guy more, he didn't have any of the credentials that he had put up on there. He may have been a doctor, but it doesn't mean that he's specialized in any of what people wanted.
What is that saying? You think hiring a professional is expensive? Wait till you hire an amateur.
Yes.
It's the same thing. I don't know anything about butt lifts, but it's the same thing that I know some people that have gone to Mexico for like weight loss surgery. Because they go down there, it's like $20,000 here, and it's like $6,000 down there. It's like, but like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and then what happens if it goes wrong?
Yeah,
that $20,000 would have had some level of security for you here.
Yes,
but $6,000 over there, it's okay. Well,
good luck.
And who's also going to investigate and make sure, you know, the number one, you didn't do any due diligence,
right? Or it's sanitary, or if you have an issue, like you can't go to the doctor.
Yeah, but you know, I think a big part nowadays, because of how much access to information we have, our egos are much bigger, and practicing humility and being humble. We've done an episode on this. When you go into a situation where you're learning from someone or having to seek someone's help, we can't say, oh, you're the expert, you know what you're talking about. I think that people today, we want to say, oh, but I also know, I saw so and so, and when I did it, this is how it was done. Are you sure this is correct?
It's like cooking, you know. It's like, I can cook. I probably can't cook as good as my husband because he's the cook in the family, but like he thinks he's a master chef, but like he's pretty good.
Yeah.
But like he never went to cooking school.
Right.
He's not an expert, but it's all relative, right? Like, so I guess kind of what we're trying to say is like,
stop wanting expert results without paying expert prices.
And stop trying to act like you're an expert because you did something one time or a few times.
Yeah.
If you're an like vet your experts.
Vet your experts as well. Yes, vet your experts, because, you know, I think when I look at, obviously I'm in fitness. And I think when what social media has done is sometimes, let's say as it relates to fitness, people don't know how to tell the difference. And because sometimes people don't want to explicitly name or, you know, say what they do. There's someone who's had a great journey in terms of fitness. They've managed to lose weight. And of course, they can show you what they've done, but does it always mean that they are an expert, right? There's a difference to, let's say we spoke with Brandy before, and Brandy certified in nutrition, as well as personal training. But on top of that, she also has years of experience doing this. So she is an expert. When you think of building businesses, do you go to somebody who's just made, their first 100,000 and they've said they've been successful? Or do you go to someone who is a serial entrepreneur who's been able to build business on business on business and share with you, hey, I've been in this game 15 years, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
They say it takes 10,000 hours
to master
to
something.
master something. Or do you go to somebody who, they've been lucky.
Yeah.
They've been lucky. And you now want those quick results that they had versus this person with 10, 15 years who has, a ridiculous amount of experience under their belt to be able to show you this is how you get there because I've done all of this. I've failed at this. This is what's helped me become successful.
Like, I feel like I had a meeting the other day with a internet marketing company about like SEO and that kind of thing. And they were showing me a campaign that they ran for another customer of theirs. And they were like, okay, this is how much they spent. This is what we did. This was the impressions. This was the click-through rate. This was the purchase rate. This is the return on investment. And it was great. And I kind of feel like that's what the YouTube experts show you.
Yeah.
Like they know, like, this is what they spent. This is how they did the ad. This is what they did. This is your return.
Yeah.
And you may know that.
Right.
But then, like, they're like, okay, but they were doing this in the background.
Right.
And they're paying for this and they're paying for this.
That.
And so, like, I can't guarantee you that these are going to be the same results because they're doing all these other things as well.
Yes.
And so, like, I don't want to overpromise you on the results if you just do this.
Yes.
And I feel like all the other things is what the expert really knows.
Yes.
So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what you're going to get on the YouTube video from somebody who's worked with the expert and can get you like kind of
I would
results.
say the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 is what the YouTube person shows you, but the expert shows you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 10.
Or all the surrounding things that need to be in place. And you're like, man, have you ever done that? Have you ever like watched a video on how to do something and then you go to try to do it and you're like I did not get any results like they said I was going to get.
It's an incomplete recipe.
Because that's right, incomplete recipe. And you know what? The expert, guess what? Yeah. They're more expensive, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. But that's the stuff that they don't, you're going to ask somebody, how do you do this? They're not going to give you their entire recipe book. It's going to be the parts that you understand.
Right.
That's all. The parts that you understand that are important to you. But everything else that goes on in the background is insane.
Yeah. So like you can think of like an expert of having like 10,000 hours in time put into something.
Yeah.
And studying and university and all of this. And then you go and hire them and they get you those same results that you wanted in a week.
Yes.
Or a month.
Yes.
What that money that you're paying them
is for everything that they were doing.
Is for everything that they've done their whole life to be able to know, for you to bypass that.
Yes.
Because you can learn some things online, but if you really want to be successful, you need to hire an expert.
But, and that's just the thing, it's sometimes non-experts may always tell you the successful parts of what they did, but they don't tell you what doesn't work. An expert knows what doesn't work.
Yep.
Somebody who's been lucky doesn't know. They just know what they did to get to where they are. But when it comes time to troubleshoot, there's nothing.
That's like, I think I've used this analogy before of like building businesses, right? Like I compare it to playing a video game. Like the first time you play, and I don't play video games anymore, but when I was little and I played Nintendo and like Super Mario, like you're having to go through the level and like you get so far and then you die.
Yeah.
And then you have to start over and then you get a little further and then you die. And so after you play it 10 times and you figure out where all the traps are,
you know to avoid
then
them.
you can go through it really, really quickly. Paying the experts is helping you get through all the traps in one, quick foul swoop. And building a business, like you're going to learn the pitfalls.
Yeah.
And it may not be the same business, but you're going to learn those pitfalls. Yeah. And so you're going to be able to say, oh, nope, we're going to hire this person, or we're going to do this instead, or this is important. We're not spending money on this. I already spent money on that and didn't get a return.
Right.
Like this and that. And so you're going to get better and better. So, I don't know, something kind of on our mind this week, or on my mind for sure, is just like, vetting your experts. Who are you listening to? Look into their background. How much success have they had? Are they successful, or are they lucky?
Yeah.
And then like when you see their prices, you should know, like they know what they're doing. Right. What you're paying for. And they're, just trying to feed their family just like you are. So just bite the bullet and get to your goal quicker, and just hire the expert and just let them do it.
Right.
Don't try to intervene with your little bit of knowledge.
Don't be an experience giver.
Yes.
When you're not. That's what it is. That was a good one. I like that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in today.
Until next week.
Peace. Thanks for listening to this episode of It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. If you like this episode of the podcast, visit our website, iswcpodcast.com, for show notes and other cool things.